My fellow Zimbabweans, hear my resonant voice as I speak from fear, cowardice, idiocy, temerariousness, and ignorance, but now incarcerated with fortified bravery, responsibility, carefulness, and well intoxicated with genuine democracy. We are a country with more cowards who prefer to be peace lovers simply because of their scary magnitude, which is ingrediented with what we have seen and what we have heard. It's a greatest shame that some of us slided into political suits unintentionally, but willingly after experiencing gross mismanagement of political affairs, which ended up spoiling our social, economic, and political stratifications. The uncontrolled level of political crisis triggered our sleeping sanity to erase fear, now fearing nothing because I'm confronted with the situations: poverty, hunger, unemployment, corruption, abductions, injustice, nepotism, despotism, kleptocracy, and many felonious things. I have tangible reasons to define the Zimbabwean political stalemate. I can't be scared for being threatened with torture, death, or imprisonment. If the life I am living is the real Dagion, if I am living a life which activates a small death for myself and generations to come. Our liberation war heroes fought for democracy, if that was their genuine reason for this struggle. So nothing will block our quest for pure democracy and livelihood. Let's stand together untreatingly, fighting for our rights against the perpetrators who proclaim to be the godfather of nationalism and indigenization. Our beloved country is sailing in stalemate, which have further submerged this country into political crisis. I will clarify this stalemate so that we as Zimbabweans will stitch a solution to this aggravating grievance. Backtracking to history, we have cases which we believe are not justified to our public satisfactory. The death of Tongogara, Morris Gumbo, Moven Mahach, Pamire, Bodagezi, Solomon Mujul, just to mention a few. The ZANU-PF haven't established meaningful evidence to prove that it protects people, but rather pose as a weevil in our grain. Every notable person who died mostly because of accidents, I mean confusing accidents, simply because of lack of stringent stance in investigating those cases. That effortless gate pronounced foul play. Checking one by one on these victims, we have reasons so lucrative to reveal the reason for their death. This purging must end now. Unfortunately, those who are supposed to have muscles to stop this purging are very good cowards who have bravery titles only to scare the mass. Shame on army generals who think their silence will save them, simply because they are being bribed with ostentation at the expense of the mass, which is scorched with repugnant and abject poverty. Big guys eulogize the abductions, thinking they are safe. Rashiwe Guja, Itai Zamara, they were adapted to silence us. But this now inspires us that if we watch this epidemic uncontrolled, we simply mean we don't love our country. If Mugabe cannot tell us the whereabouts of these people, surely he must resign with immediate effect. There are thousands of tangible reasons which will inspire Mugabe to lend a resignation if he is normal and he is a cadre who understand and who believe in pure democracy. The act of Gukrahundi, the land reform which was spiced with looting, torture and murder, Operation Murambachina, corruption, the list is quite endless. That if we can notably jot down every mistake and blunder which Mugabe did, he don't deserve to be a proclaimed and a remarkable leader. Over 20,000 people killed in Matabeleland, but the president never apologized, meaning he was right and is still right. Justice needed to be served. The land reform was done as a campaign gimmick, which subverted to be a catastrophe. It was not done according to the constitution of Zimbabwe. Now the country is having food crisis, not simply because of droughts. Guilty conscience yoked Mugabe, now talking about compensating white farmers. Where will he get money if he is struggling to pay his ballooning wage bill? Thousands of homes and houses were destroyed on Operation Murambachina. But surprisingly, ZANU-PF housing cooperatives are building shacks where there's no sanitary system, no drinking water, no roads. So who is the worst fool? ZANU-PF have run out of campaign strategies. As they are sliding into another mystery, they are planning to dish out stands while our municipalities do not have the capacity to deliver service to the current existing locations. What a shame. This is simply going to drag our cities and towns into shacks, poor health, the same thing they condemned on Operation Murambachina. Most of your experiment is costing the nation, and we are fed up with these unproductive adventures which end up drenching us into quagmire. We heard and we have seen that corruption is a thorn in our flesh. But little effort is drafted to keep out corruption. Corruption must be fought from the top. But in Zimbabwe under ZANU-PF, big guys are not punishable as long as they are ZANU-PF. We heard about the Willeville motor scandal, the JMB saga with Kangai, Noxim with Chikore, and now the 15 billion just evanesced. But no effort is steered to incarcerate those perpetrators. Communist saints elaborate that those who are supposed to implement law are corrupt, and those perpetrators signal that they share their fraudulent monies with their leaders. The quietness and inactiveness of Mugabe pronounce his involvement, directly or indirectly. It's a shame to hear that Zimbabwe had the highest literate rate, but with the worst ignorant educationists. In a country brewed with corruption, academic qualifications are not totally genuine because they can be acquired in corrupt ways. For how many years have we experienced the leakage of exam papers? In Zimbabwe, degrees and doctorates are dished out in corrupt ways. How can we stop teachers, lecturers, examiners to dish positive marks when the head of the family, who is supposed to be the role model, is the rotten model, like what Mugabe did when he slashed his wife with doctorate to prink her title with the intention to uplift her political career. That is why we have economists who advise Mugabe wrongly if he is advisable. Most of ZANU-PF bigwigs are people who are hiding justice, but using ZANU-PF, which makes ZANU-PF filth. Exemplary the case of Tomana. They truly know about these cases, rather instructed Tomana to use his position freeing culprits. Now the moment he goes against ZANU-PF hypocrisy, he becomes a culprit, and he will fail dismally. Munyaradzi Kereke is now in an abyss simply because he was in battle with Gono. Little did he know that all corrupt activities done by Gono touches most of ZANU-PF bigwigs. Gono's downfall will mean the collapse of the entire ZANU-PF mafias. The sinking of Kereke is the greatest success which is sprinkled sapiternal glory. Our memory is still tinted with the victimization of James Makamba, Chris Kurneri, leaving guys like Ignatius Chombo, Obed Mpofu, Sevia Kasukuere, Hepson Chechetere, Cuthbert Dube, untouched, smiling with happiness. That's a shame. On the dollarization fiasco, people's accounts were frozen without notice, only to be appeased with an insult. $5, irregardless of what was in your account. Such a pitiless party, evil government cozening from its starving hoi polloi. Instead of ZANU-PF compensating the majority about their corrupt and malevolent habit, they aggravated our misery by opaculuming Zimbabweans with deflagratory policies to destroy our sectors of economy, e.g. transport sector. The unrealistic presumptive taxation, exorbitant toll gates sidelined by brutal police spot fine, roadblocks mushroomed on a stone throw distance. Now we expect that our tourism industry have to thrive. Do you think a normal tourist can travel from Harare to Kariba, passing over 30 roadblocks, and we say everything is normal? This is pure madness. Traffic police given targets to rob citizens their hard-earned monies. What a terrible country. Robbing its citizens. Now most people seeking refuge by registering their commercial vehicles in neighboring countries. What does that mean to Zimbabwean economy? In a country savaged with gross corruption, the tender body and tender issues are done in corrupt ways. ZANU-PF bigwigs enriching themselves, getting bribes. For example, the quotation which was given to Zimbabwe compared to Zambia on Kariba Dam, Sino Hydro overcharged the Zimbabwean side. Another case at Wanki Colliery Mine on the purchasing of mining equipment. The dysfunctional looking East policy orchestrated infinitive pandemoniums, drenching us into economic and social quagmire. Shiazo Diamond is another mess. The list is endless. ZANU-PF amend laws to sideline their crooked agendas. Imagine the amended labor laws which torpedoed workers to be fired without satisfactory payments. CSC, GMB, NRZ, COTCO, just to mention a few, are convincing cases. ZANU-PF mess and mystery is endless and disgusting irritatingly. Mugabe misinterpreted his grapple with the West, saying the West is fighting for the regime change. Mugabe made himself ZANU-PF, meaning ZANU-PF without Mugabe is no ZANU-PF. If ZANU-PF is a party, it must choose another leader to carry on its policy, but Mugabe trusts no one to reveal his selfishness, greediness, and his level of dictatorship. Mugabe committed atrocities and genocide. Now is fighting to die a leader to dodge punishment. He wants Zimbabweans to help him evade justice at the expense of the mass. Mugabe failed to build legacy for himself and his family. So shameful to the ambitious, energetic, avaricious, and talkative first lady who think politics is business, not knowing that political business is a mess as they are messing others. What goes around obviously will come around, but so vivid in its return. If Mugabe loves Zimbabwe and Zimbabweans, he must install his mentorship to someone whom he trusts. Mugabe trusts no one. That's why he don't want to relinquish power to someone. As age and aging is a just stance which murder whoever it wants. If Mugabe dies today, who will rule Zimbabwe if he cogitates that no one is worth to lead Zimbabwe to greater heights? Pure veracity reasonably boosts in Kokabira, saying the death of Mugabe is not the end of Zimbabwe, which simply means the stepping down of Mugabe is never the end of Zimbabwe. Nobody is yawning about regime change, but everybody crying about changing of policies and leadership within ZANU-PF itself. Unfortunately, ZANU-PF never changed, simply because Mugabe is ZANU-PF. The supporters being people taking advantage of aging Mugabe or hiding their hypocrisy to manipulate justice as Mugabe is justice, axing whoever does against his Mugabeism principles and policies. Mugabe backed propaganda to visionless youth, myopic ministers, and service chief that his demise is their collapse, not dreaming the great merriment which is incarcerated by his presence. These big people are our greatest obstacle, thinking that all the sonorous privilege they have is the best, then decide to force the mass to accept this grotto order of democracy. Mugabe never wanted to step down based on his personal interest, but his prolonged stay is detrimental, first to his immediate family, graduates, business people, and all Zimbabweans at large. Mugabe manufactured this political stalemate in Zimbabwe for his personal achievement. Zimbabweans, let's stand together supporting our quest for pure democracy. Obviously, foolish, central intelligent guys or ignorant police will run strenuously after my back, demanding my head. My abduction or death or imprisonment must inspire all Zimbabweans. Nobody is safe under ZANU-PF government. Ask Mutasa, Rugare Gumbo, Joyce Mujuru, Temba Muriswa, Chris Mchangwa, just to mention a few. They enjoyed the podium, seeing others whipped out. But the same whip whipped them so grievous. And this will soon happen to those who are on the pulpit today. Mugabe cares about his autonomous and personal gains, and his greatest joy installed if only we allow him to practice and create Mugabe dynasty. If history is true, then history must repeat itself. The downfall of great dictators is greatest misery, which ignites sedition and abhorrent iniquities. My advice goes to President Mugabe that whoever is pushing him to carry on as president is his greatest enemy, who are using his image manipulating their personal gains. If his family love him, they must accept him to rest. But they use him as an icon of security to enrich themselves, bribing Mugabe with little appeasements. If I am killed today, I am not the first to die for this freedom as our heroes do so. I am undoubtedly the recipient of this proclaimed democracy. Let's not give up our peaceful fight because of threats, torture, abductions, imprisonment. Mugabe must resign today. For your own good and for the goodness of your family and country at large. Rest no more if there is no reason to rest. My beloved brethren, this is the hour. Fear no more. Riot police support peaceful demonstrations. Military guys, we have been used and misused. It's time to allow facts to govern us, not cooked propaganda. We have suffered for so long, and our fear prolonged this misery. Do not be appeased with the little, whilst you deserve the best for yourself, relative, and the nation at large. There is no use to be rejoicing for being a civil servant when your relative and your neighbors are jobless. Let's stand together with one resonant voice. Mugabe must resign today. Every day he spends at the State House is multiplication of a gigantic cloud of sorrowfulness. Let's never give up as long as Mugabe refused to step down. Let's invade the State House as poverty is invading our lives daily. I am yearning for productive and peaceful demonstrations. Violent demos ingrediented with arson, looting, and fighting is in total condemnation to the recipe of our quest for pure democracy. It's also ignorant to condemn violence without highlighting the causes. So shameful, the government banned demonstrations. We are the government. We can't ban ourselves when our demands are still not addressed. It makes understandable sense to agree that ZANU-PF banned our demonstrations to buy out time, hunting for strategy to stop us. We are unstoppable as long as poverty is tormenting us, as long as corrupt officials are not brought to book, as long as Itai Zamora is not with us, as long as our 15 billion is still not accounted for, as long as Mugabe refuses to resign. When we say let's stay away, we mean it. We mean public sector, private sector, SMEs, combi guys, vendors, everybody who loves Zimbabwe, irregardless of your location, whether you are in the rural area or in a small town. Mugabe created individualistic mind to make us not to stand together because of fearing poverty. As long as we need to eat every day, we will still demonstrate peacefully. Let's not be told that demonstrations cripple our economy. Our economy is already in an amorphous shape without demos. This then means demos are the solution. Hatichachka, Taneta, Tanzwa. One Zimbabwe, one nation, one people. Let me introduce myself. I am Lovejoy Munganirwa, the writer of the book Rebellious Mindset, which is now available on Amazon. If truth is toxic, I will spill it unconditionally, not blindfolded by race or nationality. I know truth is painful to those who deny the truth, to fasten their hypocrisy, avariciousness, and malevolence. My victimization is destined to pronounce the truculent position and intention of those who will torment my sanity. The book, Rebellious Mindset, we will leave no shapeless stone unshaved. Thank you.